European Union has agreed to provide Ukraine with a massive interest-free loan worth more than $100 billion. This will support Kyiv's economic and military needs for the next 2 years. However, the bloc failed to reach an agreement on a plan to use frozen Russian assets to finance that loan. And the U.S. is still pushing to end Russia's war in Ukraine. President Trump's envoys are expected to hold talks with a Kremlin official tomorrow.
Well, they're getting close to something, but I hope Ukraine moves quickly. I hope Ukraine moves quickly because Russia's there. And, every time they take too much time, then Russia changes their mind.
And we can show you live pictures coming to us from Moscow, where it's 3:42 in the afternoon. Russian leader Vladimir Putin is holding his annual press conference. He's been speaking for more than 3.5 hours by this point, and you're seeing a video of people sending in their questions from around Russia. For more on this, we're joined by Nina Khrushcheva. She's a professor of international affairs at the New School, and she's also the great-granddaughter of the former leader of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev. Good morning, Nina. Welcome to you. We saw President Trump yesterday expressing some optimism over peace talks, but based on what we're hearing in this press conference today, is that sentiment being shared by the Russian president?
Well, thank you. Donald Trump is always very optimistic. He always says it's going to be 24 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, and so on. The press conference is interesting because it is much more militant than it has been in recent years, because Putin does do it every year. And in early years after the war began in 2022, there was still more concentrations that we're going to keep normal life. Yes, there is a special military operation, the way they call the war is going on, but keep your attention on normal life, and we're going to take care of your problems. This year, it's not the case at all, because he feels that the military is doing well enough. And for the first hour and a half, there was all about the war, all about the military, and all about how the society really needs to embrace it. It was really pure sort of Soviet militaristic propaganda. It got slightly less militant in the following 2 hours. But this has been very, very firm Putin, who is going to have, if he is going to have peace, it's going to be on his terms.
And while we are looking at the Russian president, what seems to be at a desk with people peppering him with questions and people sending things in, it is a highly choreographed number of hours, this annual press conference. And we did hear the Russian president say that the country is close to meeting its military objectives in Ukraine. So what is the purpose of that? Is this really for domestic consumption? Is it a message to the rest of the world? And what might this mean in the context of the effort for a peace agreement?
Well, Russia generally, in post-Soviet years from 1991, has been less so, but increasingly so with Putin leadership, which, by the way, has been 25 years. Russia is a very ritualistic culture, so rituals are very important. The election is ritual. Putin supposedly speaking to the people and answering people's questions is a ritual. You heard it from Stephen Rosenberg of BBC, when Stephen Rosenberg says, well, you're in charge of the country, what's the future of the country? And Putin immediately responded, well, I'm the president, but we have the parliament that is being elected, which is basically rubber stamped by the president and so on. So this is very ritualistic, and rituals are important. So he basically gives the message to the people, I'm talking to you, you can ask questions. And we don't see this year that much. There are some probing questions. Why don't we have proper elections, Russians ask, or why there is no water in certain regions of Russia and so on. But this year on public channels, on Kremlin-related television channels, these probing questions are not really transpired as much. There are more questions as, oh, when are we going to win? Something like that. So it's getting more of a ritual rather than an actual conversation with the country. But for some very old lady or a veteran of even Second World War, who is almost 100 years old now in the deep provinces of Russia, this is, oh, great, the president is talking to us. And that's what Putin is trying to achieve. For the West, the message is, as he once again responded to Stephen Rosenberg, I'm willing to talk to the West, but the West has to be respectful of Russia. You have to take me for what I am, and then I'll talk to you.
Fascinating to describe this as more ritualistic than transparent, but we know you'll continue to listen in and we'll share with our viewers any big updates. Nina Khrushcheva, always great to chat with you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.